I was just about to introduce who we have in the top table. Closest to me, Carol. She is the secretary for Botswana Film Association. Right to her, Kemanda, sorry.
Okay, my names are Arabile Carol Gebusidi.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. The next one is Manda Mugomuti. Manda Mugomuti. He's an head member, is it? Head member for Botswana Film Association. And then next to him, Sydney Gafeka. Sydney Gafeka is the chairperson of Botswana Film Association. Mr. Sarkozy, Ernest Sarkozy, one of the elders of the industry, and of course a very key member in both Botswana Film Association and Botswana Screen Society. The last one, Kene Sebanyoni. Kileboni Mike Sebanyoni. Okay, Kaboron had. So he's got a double barrel surname. And then is from Botswana Screen Society as an additional member to the executive committee. We're expecting a few more of Botswana Screen Society members to join us as we continue with the press conference. And as they come in, I hope to have an opportunity to also introduce them to the media team. Thank you. And I'll now hand over to Carol. Okay, I'll hand over to Mr. Gafeka to do the welcome remarks, and then after he will be handing to our speakers. Mr.
Gafeka. Oh, okay. That we can already say that you can say hearts. So I'll just take that position against that. It has been said, my name is Luti Gafeka, Botswana Film Association chairman. The role is to welcome you to this event. But in my welcome remarks, I just wanted maybe to give a brief situational analysis of how we find ourselves here. There have been some, I don't want to say disturbing, but a paper that has been circulated all along, just recently, positioning, stating the status of the industry. And we have learned from that paper that it does not represent who we are. And I want to categorically make it clear that that paper was written by a group of people calling themselves from the creative sector. We are not the creative sector. We are television and film people. That's what we do. And then if you are going to, we have to get this thing very, very, very straight. That's why we want to distance ourselves from that particular paper, because it is the paper that have contributed or exacerbated the mess that we find ourselves in, because it also states that we do not have skills, and that's not who we are. We have met with Botswana Television, and then we have also met with Forge Ignite, and from that meeting, we resolved that we are going to go into realignment. But after that meeting of realignment, we met with the industry, and the industry was very clear that no, we are not going to realign anything. We want everything to stop and then find way forward. That is the position of the industry. And I don't want to say a lot because I think the speakers here, Mr. Mogomuti and Carol Kusedile, they have more to say. I just wanted to clear this one out because I know there is that paper that is going around and it makes us look like we are trying for something and then yet we are the same people who are saying we are not empowered. So thank you very much, Carol.
Dumelang bagaetsho. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to take this opportunity first, taking from our chairperson, to thank you for coming. I know there is a press conference somewhere. We are all happy about the new president, Advocate Boko. So we were a bit scared that we will have an empty room. I think for the first time in a very, very long time, or ever since I was born, or maybe for the first time in regards to why we are here, which is the project titled Botswana Ignite. We were called by Botswana Television and Botswana Ignite, I think it was about a week ago, to come and sit with them so that they could give us an update on the project. Number one, it was a surprise because associations have never been called to be really updated or engaged. And we did honor that meeting. And I think we must be very, very grateful that we find ourselves in a time of where people are free, because every time we had wanted to sit around the table, to not be dictated to, but to be allowed to speak, was never there. I think it was in 2019 when we heard about the news of Steve Harvey Global coming to ignite our industry. A lot of us questioned, and a lot of us were for the project. I think because being a country like ours and being an emerging industry like ours, anything is possible and anything can be agreed to or disagreed. We then were told that the project was a presidential initiative. We have tried to ask questions in the past, and whether we like it or not, we are not afraid to say we were not allowed to ask questions. This project, the government is injecting over $500 million for 3 years. And yet, the model on how, especially Botswana Television, as the biggest broadcaster in the country, acquires content from us through tendering, through limited budgets, through cancelled tenderings. We found ourselves in a situation where we are nothing but beggars in our industry, and we are here to say we are not in agreement. We do understand that in 2021, when the Botswana Ignite project was still ongoing or planned for, a position paper was submitted to government by then. A position paper that is in the hands of Botswana Television and Office of the President. We must also clarify that as the industry, since I think it was Monday, it is the first time we lay our hands on that position paper. And we want to be very, very clear. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think that our industry, we do not have skilled personnel, I am not afraid to even say people who have been making decisions about our industry also do not have skilled personnel. Because we find ourselves in this situation. We have had Maramoze coming into the country. People were trained on the job. We have had United Kingdom. That one personally I can tell you because there was nothing but racism, I'm not afraid. And when now we have Botswana Ignite, it's like it is the first time. They are repeating models. It's like when Internet 1 + 1 1, 1 + 1 2. Yet they fail to acknowledge what has happened before, so that they can pick up from it. The Botswana, that position paper, after reading it, we also strongly believe that it has also contributed, and it continues to contribute to our state in the film and television industry. We had given up and said, at least we have got Now Channel. Even though Now Channel was forcefully taken to become BTV2, or is it 1? 2, so that whatever Botswana Ignite will be doing will be also getting in there. But now it just repeats news or old things. Then our beautiful ministry, as it was known, today it's beautiful, MySec, which is now it's called the Ministry of Sports and Arts, decided that because they've taken the television, they do have an option of going online. They prepared themselves and had an online television. All of a sudden, there is no money in Botswana. People are told to stop flying. We can't even get sponsors to go to critical filmmaking residential labs around the world. We are subjected to Botswana Ignite teachings. That for me, I've done models. I've done, I don't need after again. We then find ourselves in a situation now. Money is being taken from one ministry that we had bent our lives in. One channel. The tender has been cancelled. We are told as a nation that there is no money. But yet, a project that holds $500 million, over $500 million, is still running. How can we explain that, ladies and gentlemen? Everything should have been stopped the same way our lives have been stopped. It is not right to get other students from South Africa to come and be a crew here, while we have got graduates in our country who are skilled, who could have filled up. Our only problem as an industry that we have always said to government is that we need money pumped into our industry. Yet money continues to go out. I think if you listen to Mr. Mother in the morning, he also mentioned about the studios. You run renovation. Oh, they're renovating. After the renovation, you say the studios are good. After 2 minutes, the studios are not good. And then you take Botswana taxpayers' money and you go and spend it in South Africa. Has South Africa television industry ever taken South African taxpayers' money for it to be spent in our country? It hasn't. So because we find ourselves in a situation where we are very, very confused. You cannot say that we are not skilled. You have no right to say that we are not skilled. And if you're looking at the productions on Botswana television, I am not afraid to say those productions represent Botswana television's quality, not our quality, in terms of on how they procure content. When you procure content in Botswana, it's the same way when you procure toilet paper and water. The tender goes to the lowest bidder. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not even afraid to tell you, I've refused in the past to negotiate with my favorite channel, Now Channel, in terms of a tender, because I know my worth and I know the worth of my productions, and many people have done that in Botswana. So I'll give it to Remanda for Lene, Relege Botansa for Sintenke, Rare Hakai.
Okay, thank you. Rivera. Rivera. Rivera wote manja mwozi. Ketafanala tata boswani. Kawori. Kefanala tata boswani kawori. Karla bale saharale Botswana. And if no one sells Setswana saro, naskala kasaro. Kema hamsirikisi. Ah, you are getting. This project yaka still happy. Totally hanoka yo. Hanoka wene kama baka anzinja. Project de aircraft to go. What is it? Aircraft to go. Huri lane. Lehone kema. Outdoor holding. Keboma. Haisna ko craft to go. Ibeta yenselo ile pupe eta go rona ibere to go tesoro kisi. It's either you are in or out because the train is moving. That is the situation that we found ourselves in as the industry. And same as go tswala mono mo go hitisa in a look, if you were to question it, no to about this is a president initiative. Motho a hella go no kana ba rela gore a o nyatsa ta botho a ri a loka ha ba te go helletsa re wena o ta control ka bo wena. So because the industry is hungry, I want to say was young, but Madam had no choice but instead to go in. Kana ke dula ke re la ha o tshone hela to batho ba molimo ha o to you are 20 pula zelo tshone go no dilo motho o ile ba ya mo because there was nothing in the industry. So, hari buarele ha, hari batho gore ba arele ga gona Botswana ba ba leng part of Ignite. They are there, but I would say in wrong places and possibly being rewarded. So this project we had no choice. Yari Dijimala project so this. Kanti the time will come. And indeed that time came, and all of us, the of us should be, and we took part on that time when that time came. We changed power, and I'm very proud. Not that I belong to any party, but because finally as Botswana, we have shown politicians that we are in charge. And this is our tax money, and this is our money. The same respect that they need from us is the same respect that they need to accord us. There is change of power, there is freedom. From Norway, we received an invitation from Botswana Ignite. From Norway. But that was after elections. I'll tell you that way. We received an invitation. And that invitation was saying, let's come and engage. But all along, we were being addressed. Why are we engaging now? What happened? This project had to get out. Me do go. Rona the join here. And to some who can now when the village of our Kahor, whom we only a pay, put the president, has a totality. maybe we are the only leverage that is left that is going to say, if this project is to survive going forward, you rona ngwana ka yang we dia but the industry ba isetse morago ya bethu industry ga ya sala project ya ga still happy morago le ba dira ba le go ba le nosi ha ile gore ba batla go tswella go dira ba tswella ba le go ba dire as they were doing it, not with us, not with our backing. They did that on their own, which is why there is a narrative that has been thrown around that says we don't have skills locally. That narrative is alive and it has been communicated. Is it Ford? Is it Ignite Botswana? Is it global? Oh, it has been communicated like that. So those people, when they came to Botswana, never you told about the hell do you live with animals? Never you told about that. That is why the design of those programs were meant for now what about professionals? Those that have been in the industry for long. So that narrative has brought us here. Narrative here already mela gore. Motho wa ile gore ke ena re lomaganyeng le forge. Ke go tsona television. Wa ile gore ke ene a re tseng batho a re. Ka nkwano bona ga gona sepe lo te lo simollela. Mme motho ba ka botsa gore. Motho ba ka botsa gore. Ha o re ga gona quality mo Botswana. You are judging us based on what? You are judging us as an industry based on what? Because I don't remember any production here locally getting a fund to 10 to 20 million. I don't. Me production in production half a billion. What informed them that now when people come from outside, whenever talk about budget, they relay. But higher on how to get budget daily. We're not a very price. How produce a 13 episode locally? They will buy your project at 700 or 600,000. I get 680. That's how much they will buy. And we are told that as they are shooting project there when they are live on air, 6 or 8 episodes, we are looking at around 30 million. What informed that? For how about we shoot at each one content, so you can have Rona. So that you produce quality. But when you film and television, the quality depends on the funds available. It's not a very cheap industry. It needs funds. For you to get a proper production, what you can really fund, it's a deal. Whenever the 540 million. Never put it a man, Baboni guy, it is also singing Basigiramo. What is this issue asking? It raises a lot of questions that you ask yourself. I never hear an industry, never hear a Rona, and we are here today. Let's now go on an industry. Let's now go on a forge, BTV. I came to get a damn the bottle of it. I came in seconds to go down. Roy Minko, Lamon. Is part of the team here forge. I guess what I get part of the team here forge. I care global, still globally, and keep on Ignite. He's part of it. Sam, Ray, Harari. Leading Tiro, how similar Sorosarna engage us so that we we are experts at this also. For a red in as an industry, not we are not prescribing for us. That means the leading station to the I don't director, I'm going to lead assistant, the same will be our shadow. So that Hannah going to say, Mabahe lever, but I'm afraid that is not the case. At this particular junction, the projects that are being shot, they will not be the line. They will not take that time about the hunter. They hunted. They will not die. we said they can't even hold on again with our bitch. I love it. I'm proud of the terrible poor and never done. Put a poor skilling. Rabba Nabu lady stories are not. The story has a number of good rebels ask the strong can he retain is a liar. That we don't even know. Is there anyone here who knows stories of the lie? We have never watched it. Except that gentleman there. I hold. But still is it to mono at the receipt on a relevant one. Don't we have our own stories? Good, how can Haswa level or to level of the way this thing was positioned without us? It sums up to one thing. Yeah, no, okay, how to get away to get remove the industry. That's not what I'm industry we convinced Komola. The industry said to us, go ahead and tell these people that this project must stop. Because if it's for us, without us, then that is why we are here. Sapori, then what next would be discussed. Mihela, as of now, the industry says the project has to stop. Me really have Kana project I give extend again 3 years. Essence is more. Again.
Yeah.
Maybe in a whole talk about what to hello how when the Mamaka. Not that honest in the country, they don't want to revalue, they don't want to because whether the project stops or goes ahead, industry. We need to know what I did. How? If you don't say guy, every guy is what is the way forward? So the renewal on the allocation. Patela, the really go radio, still saying the same message. And I would like to say also to people to say, I don't talk we only have Botswana. Most of us in Botswana, we don't have any other country that we can go to. And if we don't stand up for what is right for this country, people are going to come in and do as they're doing. So it's upon each and every person who is a citizen of this country, in your little corners, to stand up and do something, wherever you are, so that we can bring this country, this industry, to its rightful owners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mogomuti. I don't know if before I throw back to the media team, okay, good. All right. Any questions to the presentation that has been made by the 2 speakers, or rather the 3 speakers? You'll show by a raise of your hand, and you say your name, who you represent, and then you ask the question. My brother, Umara.
Thank you. My name is Oji.
Can you please raise your voice a bit?
My name is Oji Malife. I'm just a passionate person when it comes to films, and I love films, and I do a bit of story writing here. My question is to the panel there. Have you engaged the now Office of the President, which this department falls under? Their television and broadcasting. Have you engaged them now on this matter? And if you have, what is their take on this whole saga?
Thank you.
And are they willing to respond?
Thank you so much. There was another hand somewhere.
That's fine.
It's covered. Okay. Do we have any other question? My sister?
question is, the letter from Botswana Television, what is it exactly did they say? The role they wanted you to play?
The letter from?
From Botswana Television to the film industry.
The invitation,
Sorry, the invitation.
the meeting.
Yeah, the invitation.
Okay.
And do you know how many Botswana are engaged for the Botswana Ignite?
Alright, thank you. Alright, okay, Godson.
Hey, my name is Watson. I'm a filmmaker. So, I'll just say, what I'm asking is, what's the way forward from here? What do we expect to achieve from media writing about this whole ordeal? Because I believe, as much as this is moving trade, how many media are and it's still moving. The next thing we know, all the money is gone, right? And so I'm just wondering to what benefits after this whole thing.
Okay, thank you. Panel for answers, please.
I believe that the first question was because it was on a television falls under Office of the President. If we have gone there. What we wanted to do firstly is that we follow hierarchy. Sometimes when you rush to the highest office without even having engaged Batubalona and the people concerned, you can be told to go back. DTV called us while we were planning to call them. We have engaged with them. They understand what we say. Our language was not wrong, it was correct. We want an evaluation report, and we are going to the industry. And we do not want this. It was not designed for us. We went to the industry, those that came. Rosa Khan. And the industry was very, very vocal to a point where later that evening, messages were coming. Maybe we should do it. We said, no, it is not in our culture, but if it need be, maybe one day, not now. Because we believe that we've got the right to sit and talk. Our industry was very, very clear. And they said, go for a press conference to inform whoever in the nation where you are. And then from there, we are going to be submitting a paper at Office of the President titled A Critical Analysis of Botswana Ignite Project and its Impact on the Local Film and Television Industry, how politically motivated projects can destroy an emerging industry, a case of racism by design. We are not here to play. We have been silenced for a very, very long time. And this thing, I think, even our new president has made it very, very clear to Badira Lokuso. This talk of when you want to know something, hey, HE this, HE that, it needs to stop. As civil servants, you need to serve. And I'm still going to repeat myself like I did. Mr. Steve was there. If you are a civil servant, put in a position to serve us. If you feel that you can't, or we can't, please also know that you can't. Can you just kindly remove yourself? Because it is mindsets like yourselves that continue to rob emerging industries. We've been talking about issues of film and television for a very, very long time. We shouldn't be here at this time. Is that any question?
The numbers of Botswana Ignite is 60% South Africans and 40% Botswana that are involved in the Maya production.
And I was asking.
This excludes students. Yes.
So the invitation wanted to know what is it?
Look.
The invitation, sorry ma'am, wanted to inform us of their plans for Botswana Ignite Project 2025, while we haven't even evaluated if our taxpayers' money, which was meant for the film and television industry, was used accordingly. It was just to inform us. Or by the way, because there's this new government, so that you can follow us. This is where we are going, but we never knew where they were going. So honestly, whether we want to believe it or not, or we want to admit it or not, it is nothing. I'm sorry. Because you are from BTV. A stunt. Because even last year, as the industry, when we invited BTV to one of our projects with our new Ministry of Sports and the Arts, BTV did not show up, which means that they are not for our industry. Yet today they come running with cameras, which is a very, very good thing because freedom of speech, human rights, and all that, we're in a very, very beautiful era. I think we are all in agreement. So according to Ramanda, the statement is very, very clear from us. It needs to stop.
Have you engaged the office of president? Yes. Our president. No, that way forward. The reason why after that meeting, support as an industry. I don't leadership in industry. Remy says must reposition as industry leader so that information and then go do it so that it favors us. That is one thing we must stop as the industry. We have a problem of positioning ourselves so that benefits come to us. And this is the reason why we are here, part of it. That we would group ourselves, go somewhere, do something that favors us, and then say, this is the industry. So moving forward, we should be able to consult the industry. How does that be done? Because we call the industry, but hard. And I'm afraid not a lot of members came to that meeting. We had around 70 people when we went to the meeting. We very happy to go ahead. We were coming to run a project. The same was another project. This is the reason. So, Cecily Rwan Kihor, young radio, Halifax Radio, call a press conference, inform the nation our stand about this project. Then after that, take this for simply to OP so that they act on it as of yesterday. Because it's urgent. That's all we're going to do. Because now we're looking that was possible. So that we for it. I don't know my dear I am. But that is where we are going. Thank you.
It is to our understanding that they are paid. One hour is a project. I get what's the invoice? Maybe at the meeting that we had with the Botswana television, what was even surprising more than anything was that, I'm not afraid to say this because he said it to us and even to Botswana Ignite, the general manager, Retudo, Joel Tudo, he mentioned to them that I am the general manager. And this is the first time I have been invited, I'm quoting, to a Botswana Ignite meeting. The person who is responsible for the television station, who it is said that that project is to create content given to him so that he could put on the platform. In the land, I BTV, the project, the Botswana Ignite. I think that is a very, very national on Facebook red flag. So, okay, so I think I had a little thing. I guess I
Yeah, there's a few more questions that I saw my brother here. Is there any other hand?
Right here.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
Yes. Now, I don't think this is surprising. I don't see it very surprising because right from the onset.
Just before you go further, I know you must be manager for the sake of the room. Just give your name and your surname and let everybody know who's talking.
Yeah, who's talking is who's talking. Yeah, thank you so much. Look, I don't think this should be a surprise, guys. Because I've said it even when I heard the news about Steve Harvey. I even spoke to the peers then, only the pen, not Japan. Why are you bringing Steve Harvey here when we have people who have colossal, more experience in what they are doing in terms of television? And the answer was that man that was saying, but on our experience. And I said to Per, you don't sound like a PS. You don't sound like a PS because to me, that's an insult of the last number. So that's why this is not surprising because in 2019, we all knew about the half a billion will be going there. We never stood up, but I hear your thing because I understand that. The television industry, recently, this is not something a surprise because how the feedback. You will see, or even the CIPA and what have you, they will give you 1 million for shoot an episode. When you tell them, look, you shooting a movie or shooting a drama needs money. For example, when you're talking about my star, you know, I gave them an example. You know, 13 episodes, you need 40 million rands, 18, to shoot idols. But you will need 300 to 500 to shoot my star, if you might get it. But Rona, we can't get that. But this is the insult that I'm talking about. I'm not also surprised that Joel was saying that, because some other things were done under the table. You see, we are asked to shoot in 4K, and yet what is being broadcasted is standard. So you can tell. I mean, the gentleman here, I remember when Steve Harvey was at the mass media, I met him, and he talked to him. But I was one of the first people who to do this. He found me there. We have the best equipment in the world, the most. Now you ask yourself, if we have the best equipment in the world, how come we're spending more money outside than investing more money in these people here? It's very, very surprising, to say the least. But you see, but I know the reason why you were called, you guys, tables are turning. Now, tables are turning, and they're going to turn. Most of the people, don't be surprised to see a lot of people be kicked out of the offices, because if you go to my search, you don't go and get another Now TV. You ask yourself how many tenders have been canceled. We spend money. How many hard drives do we have on my search? How many? For how much?
And tenders are being cancelled every time and again. PTV being one of them. Tenders were being cancelled time and again. They say there's no money. But there's money when it comes to I'm happy that we're here. Rona will run behind you. We will be there. I mean, anytime, now I don't know, you don't hear me most of the time. But I had to come here to see what happened. If anything, you know what I'm talking about more than anything else.
Thank you so much for the comment, Abuti.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Queen Masara from the Argus Online. I have two questions. The first one being, you're talking about a project that is in its first, if not the second year, I think. First year. About to finish? Yes. Unless maybe I've not been into the scenes and whatnot. Why the silence? What kept you quiet? I mean, looking at how angry you are now coming, the passion that comes out of you. Why have you been quiet about this? You know. And then number two, you've been talking about. I think this. You spoke of racism for the second time. If by design, if you could maybe take us through that racism that you're referring to. Yeah, just so that we also bring our listeners to context. Yeah, thank you.
I think we've said it before. Whether we don't want to, one thing about us, Botswana, is that we like admitting things to ourselves in private, in our hearts, and then when we have to admit things vocally, we are afraid, because we've always been afraid to block you, that we will not get this job done. Ladies and gentlemen, we could not speak. We have tried to speak, whether in offices, whether where. There was a joke a week ago. We had a meeting. Ramanda said something and people laughed, but it was a serious thing. He said, usually Carol, when she's invited, she's never given the mic to speak because she asks hard questions. Now it has come to a point where they no longer invite her, which, honestly, because I like staying alone. Now, racism by design, ladies and gentlemen, it's when it is decided that it is only a certain group of people that should benefit for something that should maybe benefit the majority. You come into our industry, you give out these roles and you are happy. We have a Motswana who is the third wardrobe assistant. And I was trained as a wardrobe assistant when I started. It was in 2022. And we're still wanting to train a person who is a lecturer, who has been involved in whether short or feature is still a film that has gone to notable film festivals around the world as a trainee in his own country. You project and say, we have got people, writers, not the trainees. I see the writer trainees that you have put up there. There are people that have gone to international platforms to pitch because of the concepts that they have written. Authentic, beautiful Botswana stories that can be relevant in the international community. And you want us to clap hands because they are trainees. When they compete with Africa and other nations and other platforms like Godeb and Filmat there, and get number one, you still choose to put a limitation clause to them that they are trainees in their own country and their own industry. People who have gone for competitions on Netflix ended up in over top 7 in Africa, and they still deserve to be trainees. A lot of them. We should open our eyes and we should speak.
All right, Mr. Ernest Saposing will talk to the issue of silence in the industry. Why are we starting off? It's Mr. Aburon. He'll take us through why the silence now suddenly there is an outcry. Young one also really.
I'll just focus on the silence issue that my sister asked. We haven't been silent, to be honest. We have engaged before Office of the President, I think 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. The PS and the deputy PS. You know that? The one who was left. Yes, with PTV represented the Zika project manager. We have been speaking about it, raising red flags, because remember, we are practitioners, we are on the ground, and we hear what our fellow practitioners are saying. And every time when they say something, they point fingers at the leadership. Botswana Film Association and Botswana Screen Society. So we have been speaking, and every time when we leave Mapelwi Council's office, is that we'll fix things, we'll come back to you. So it's been an ongoing engagement. Like my sister Carol was saying, you speak to people, but they block you or put a red tape on you to say, this one talks too much. But we are not talking too much. We are representatives of masses, film practitioners, not critics, film practitioners. From being a security guard, to Masate, to an extras, to producer, director. We're talking about a large pool of people. But the answer is simple. We have been engaging all people in mobility, the Oshingatiani, Zika being present. And this issue does not start today. I'm happy that even still, maybe they didn't say it from Botswana, I personally and the chairman here, we have engaged in, because we felt we have been left behind as an industry to really understand what is happening and to even explain to him that, listen, we have people who qualify to work in this project that we're coming up with, who have been in the industry for more than 20 years. So if the industry has been surviving for more than 20 years, and you are told, there are no practitioners in this country, come on. Those who are in power, that is why now we are coming out to say, guys, enough is enough. This is an industry that is surviving. I mean, we are just towards the elections. Our former president was all over. You know those videos, even though a company which was engaged was from South Africa, but most of the crew, part of the crew was from Botswana. But why now Botswana Ignite has ignored us for a reform from 2019? Those are the questions that we need to really ask ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I'll get it to you. All right.
I'm a private practitioner. I'm not part of these guys. And I'm not part of Ignite either, or BTV. I represent the industry, and I was called by the Boss Association. None of them is here. I can't run away the guy.
Oh, he's there.
Oh, it's both sides. Can you ignite the direction? From where it came from. Some of us, we never agreed with it. We told them plain out. We were not afraid to speak out. Because we've been around. But this is where we are now. Ignite, kana Steve Harvey Mutusi project. Nation empower the locals. Other so that they help them create their own stories so that they're put on the page. Once I attended TV, you know, it was in line with this. Because those were 3 projects, then never well on or around 10 projects that are so that we can run them for 3 to 5 years. But then we have about 3 again. Of which none of the local projects at the moment has been commissioned to anybody. I get at least our dealers to any companies. No companies are there were three projects. You may know extra. I see the small I see the mail of also over by the running. I want my dear guys and more. When I'm going to do that, I'm not going to do it. I get them out of project there. I have in Botswana, maybe aspiring filmmakers. I use all like of which maybe some of them are industry. But Nagani got them, but don't get about but in the opinion or here, most of them got to active industry members. So they'll go feel any power or what are in a project irasi. Project higher of the Sepehalo, I like it only but higher of the Sepe. Salary receive before the competition till stage. When I am sort of receive more like an Kalau kita lihat, sebenarnya ada research mau puluh KPU orang nunggu koneksi lagi. Family feud, dan naik messi mulai kalau Steve Harvey ada motif, aku tu family feud. Kalau aku tu saya, ni kan RSP kami ya karena mau muda beli mau orang itu tapi itu lah. Kan di family feud ini announce before family meeting last week. Waktu itu saya sama kafe kurara, itu ada boleh memoti. Kita nak buat le TV jadi daily news ya, kita nak motif meeting. But you are hardly tea. Not as a liar, you can go meeting Mumusha, Gravely industry in Yanya. Can I go to Korea? Who tell us in Mabane recently? You look about the details about what on point of analytical local. Malawana meeting one air more in Yakai. Was already an ACB. But what did you never see ever well like I don't worry? To take 90. By align in your in other words, I want to look at content that will be acquired in the next maybe 3 to 5 years. High align in Ignite. Because whenever I have a lot of ways, you are sure about training to whatever they are doing. You go to Mr. Ziga, none of them. But where you are worried, in the near future, I'll go to a rental shop. I can't even like BT, can I get 90? Can I imagine? No. Doctor Abuja rental shop and cameras are anyway, as if like we are finished, you don't have those cameras or you can't afford them. How about a camera radio? We are a BTV content. Because the other we went the Air 1080 standard HD. So, run
less.
Every hour was some government doing we are Maria was
Standard.
So, the cancer DMA and our goal. Rehamo industry really. I can observe it last week. Project I made it to so. But I read half again. Some of us have never. Now I did part of Ignite. It's my first time to see Mr. Steve. I've never been to Ignite meetings. But for the master class, I was your idea created logo BQA. I gave certificate in Neramatu. Value also making. I was a degree and a diploma again for 1 day session. You go on the country is a beauty. They don't worry. I'm not going to have several Bua. Is that the Kazia Buega? But the Nanakarre Diana, as the industrial clearly Rabuele, the Mokuana Kareba project, the Isker part of 8 Baba, you like that benefit. Lander can part of it. Robert BTV, well, Amravana, Itsikatsikelo. Who's the channel moon or so they can't tell you a local content? It does the GBS roadshow here. I can BTV. It does the roadshow BTV and then a few of the programs that is from the last 10. Yeah, it's an Abuja, must do some hacker. Oh, after maybe a few weeks, goes from what I'm using in Napa. BTV high school acquired content there property. So it will last 2019, right? Again, it's about to know fight. Sound the guy. So, it's like 2019, but it's some people. And what I like to attend during the COVID era, again. After a certain member of parliament from Kenya, BTV must be given 100 million every year so that it can secure some content.
So ga re go mo go tsosa ba busi ba bona re go content e ra madi a kae ba re ka dira yang gore re kgone go tsenya madi. So that's how we ended up here. Go re tsene re ska ra dilo ba nna ke buile mo social media ga ba blacklist I say it depends on one in my life. So it doesn't mean anything. Jano re ha ga re ba di project ya Steve ba le go ba itswe di se ke a bone a kere. Ba itse re tsamaya ne re letsa gore BTV e wa ela mora go nyana e simolla go secure local content go tse mo madi mo di project at least ya no bana la idea pricing or 8 episodes can actually cost 30 million. So go ela mora go nyana ba re nyame ka re ntse re nela ma 500,000 go mo re tla le nela 3 to 5 million o Mr. Masadi tsa bua kae go ga dira gore at least re tlhabole di project tsa rona to an extent ga ka itse go bua kae di project tsa rona ga itse di siame I don't want to like the shoot I got the latest Black Magic stage 2 years ago, 1 year ago. We are still shooting with those cameras. Our quality is good. It's only that we are not willing to give them our quality at their price. So the result you want to go BTV, you never hang or the camera like your camera. The result you get the lowest bidder. Or the Amana first year, but PG go BTV. Bachelor 250 there, our kind of whatever. BTV takes that content and they play it. So it's not a representation of local film industry or television industry. You know, they don't represent the lowest bidder, whatever they are buying, and we've got nothing to do with it.
Thank you.
Like I know we are going to creative industry, film and television industry. So I think, like about Buahu, minister, and one of the film under his departments, the issue of Abira or local issue of president, the simulator of Malawi miss. It doesn't matter who's in the office, if I assume the gap on it, you find it, you get someone and they have to answer to them. That's how it is.
Thank you, leadership. Yeah, you.
Me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I wanted to just, my name is Tondra Tsara. I chair the Creative Arts and Media Center of Business Botswana. I just wanted to, first of all, thank you for the press conference. I just wanted to applaud and congratulate you for the step. I wanted to just lend some context and color to the position paper from 2021. And it's important because that paper was authored by, it is available, it's public knowledge, by multiple associations under the auspices of Business Botswana because it was seen to be neutral. And it had 13 sections, one section on limited skills. That limited skills section was the output or the creation or the narration of the Botswana Screen Society leadership at the time. You need to take people.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat that again?
Yes. It was the output of the Botswana Screen Society leadership at the time. 80% of people who were involved in the process were vehemently against the Steve Harvey thing, to the point of anger. But as you rightfully said, I'm sure you remember the prayer at the stadium, the lovely prayer at the stadium the other day. May the hopes and dreams of the people that have been buried arise.
Yeah.
We all know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
There was someone who even said, no one in Botswana has achieved anything. That was the PSP, who is still the PSP. No one in Botswana has achieved anything, right? So let's not forget the climate we were in. It was October 2021 when we came together. And a decision was made that, listen, this government has a mandate from the election year 2019. They are here for 5 years. Let's work with them. If they insist that they are bringing Steve Harvey, if they insist, this is maybe how value can be added. That is how the position paper came about. But even as the author, I was against the Steve Harvey thing from the beginning. But you go with the voice of the collective. So, in as much as President Duma Boko is dealing with problems from his predecessor, he does not disabuse himself from those problems. They are Botswana problems. And it is a bit unfair of Botswana Screen Society and Bofia to want to wash their hands of what their former leadership endorsed. In fact, let me correct. Bofia was vehemently against this as well. Bofia did not want Steve Harvey, and they have never erred from that stance. The problem was Screen Society. But to that end, there was only one of 13 sections that spoke to skills. So you need to look at that holistically. So I would just want to give that color and that context that there was challenges in this industry. And as Mr. Siabosing just pointed out, people came to the realization that there is potentially resources here. And then they came up with the Steve Harvey thing. And it was by design that the narrative was, there are no skills in Botswana. Starting from the leadership of PSP saying, no one in Botswana has achieved anything. Right? It was by design. Because how would you now justify bringing people in?
Yeah.
The show that was supposed to be shot here is being shot in South Africa. How do you justify that? But if you trace this thing back to where it started, I think it was during COVID in 2020, when I think there was a lockdown coming. And in that context of a lockdown, the good news was we're investing 56 million in BTV studios. Shortly after, a certain gentleman by the name of Steve Harvey had gone to BTV studios. 56 million of taxpayer money was used to renovate BTV studios. At the opening, the man declares that the studios are substandard and not fit for purpose. 56 million gone.
Just like that.
Right? And that has been the story of this project. And it has vacuumed all the resources out of the industry. To the point where you cannot get work, you cannot do anything unless you align to the Steve Harvey standards. But they're not even playing out on 4K. They're not even playing out clear on television. They can't do a replay of a goal scored in a match. But they say to Botswana, come with an entire season, pre-produced at your own expense. You might win a tender. And then, as Mr. Siapo Singh said, then they give it to the lowest bidder. Did Steve Harvey have to produce a pilot of Family Feud at his own expense? Did Liar have to produce a pilot of Liar at their own expense? So I just want to stand up to exercise my right of reply and to just clarify a few issues. The limited skills piece was from Botswana's Clean Society at the time. But we recognized the climate we were in, the political climate we were in, and said, are we going to put the industry on hold for 5 years? Or are we going to work with the government that we elected, that is the government, and try and work with them for the benefit of all? And exactly as you said, that was October 2021, as the document states, only to receive an invitation from the gentleman behind me 2 weeks ago to say come for an update. 3 years later, 1 week after an election, you can then make up what that means for yourself.
Amen.
Thank you so much. I think we are running out of time. We just need to close, guys. We've been booked here for until what? Unfortunately, I think the last meeting at Malapo Crossing, I had themed it that the industry should come together and use the fourth estate so that they distribute to the rest of the population. But please, we are running out of time. Let me just give to Mandla Mokomuti, and then Carol will wrap it up, and then we'll be done for today.
Thank you again, MC. Thank you. Mr. Zara, I saw you, but I just simul hearing. One of the industry, we have a problem. One industry, we are part of this problem. Can we please stop positioning ourselves and look at our interests? Because this is what is bringing us to this. Because we live here for, if this thing comes, I'm going to benefit. So rather the industry suffer. So another problem when you take over as an industry, let's have one voice. If you know yourself for you are such kind of a leader that doesn't have people's interest, please stay away from leadership. Simple as that. If you can't, gore ha ele gore motho ene gore ha o bone sukiri ha e se ya gago o palelwa ke go emisa go e topola tswa ko sukiring e leng teng o batla ga se ya gago because you cannot control yourself. So gone jaana ha go tseba that position paper rona ke bone re e bona 2 weeks ago ke be ke bodiwa go temantle ka ntle wa reng. And I'm going to be honest in this one. That position paper doesn't differ much with what is being happening on ground. It doesn't. Why is it differ? Because it was created by people, even though in any government those say, who had their own interest, not for the industry. That is why today we're coming out clear to say, we are not creatives. We are television and film production. So that we become specific to our topic. And we are here today to say, whoever that was involved in doing that position paper, we still need each other as an industry. But going forward, let's be honest with each other. So that one voice. At one point, we were all over radio stations. No, this. Can the people want to position themselves? But I'm in leadership today. If tomorrow I position myself on thank you. Because it's in the industry. Thank you very much.
I think in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, Botswana Ignite, I don't know if to call it a project or a school, that is giving out a certificate that is not regulated, it's not even accredited according to them, must stop. I want to leave you with these words. They've been in my mind. I was listening to Wycliffe Diallo. Have you ever been taken to a dark place where not even scientists can reveal? That is where our film and television industry is. And BTV, who is supposed to be our biggest supporter, today it's very, very sad. Your actions are those like vampires. You're busy sucking our blood. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, to honor this invitation. I know that you could have gone somewhere else. They've got businesses, but we thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts.
So BTV was captured.